So excited. Today, we have Patrick Dugan. Yeah, man. Let's go.
That's horrible. What kind of welcoming is this?
Let's go. And it's been a pleasure just watching him grow, watching him, kind of like evolutionize himself. He's done so many things for the community that today was a flow. I can't even imagine. Usually when things go wrong, it keeps going wrong. Like nothing changes throughout that situation. It just gets worse and worse. But today everything kind of flowed, and now here we are. So I want to give a nice welcome for Mr. Duger, because I feel like as a Brooklyn-born artist, musician, educator, poet, spiritual activist, I think he is one of the most profound people that I've ever met in my life. He has been able to do things in this life that will motivate others to reanalyze how to navigate through some of the most impactful moments in a human being's life. And I say that because we'll be exploring themes from his book, Concrete Dreamland, Coming of Age in Underground New York, and how his experiences connect to practical life strategies. I figured, I do things a little different today. A quick spitfire questions. Welcome to Booked Up. Today we're diving into the world of daily hacks, resilience, and the power of narrative. We have a very special guest. Let's start our spitfire questions. I hope you're ready. Let's go. In Genesis 1, the word or number 7 has 2 key symbolic meanings. 7 represents a full and complete world, and getting to 7 is a linear journey. What does that mean to you?
The number 7, well, in the nations of gods and earth, supreme math, 7 is the number of God. I actually have a 7 tattooed on my neck. My spiritual number is 108, which is an auspicious number. It's also my birthday. But that is 10 minus 8 is 7.
Right.
Yeah. So 7 is, 7 shows up everywhere too, if you look for it.
Very interesting. So without wonder or thought, what inspired you to capture your experiences in Brooklyn through both painting and writing?
Brooklyn. Brooklyn is the planet. It is the inspiration if you're open to it, if you're steeped in the culture, if you appreciate the culture.
That's right.
It's so rich with visuals, with stories, with lineage, history.
How does the energy and the culture of Brooklyn influence you creatively, process as a painter?
As a painter?
As a painter.
Just that. My paintings are of ordinary, so-called ordinary people. Nobody's ordinary.
No one.
You know what I'm saying?
True,
but
very
absolutely.
Most of them are inspired by people that I see in my community who might not recognize how beautiful they are, or how special they look, or how much their face tells a story and how interesting they are. And so I've always been someone that's, I could people watch all day long.
I love people watching.
Yeah.
I love people watching. Just to break it down, the energy and the culture of Brooklyn as a painter creatively, the process, your influence, how do you get there? Your influence has to be something deep, because your paintings are
Thank you.
through the roof.
I mean, I'm also inspired by other painters,
Okay.
and those that came before me. Absolutely. But just to say that I am reverent of other artists, and I study them because I'm not a trained artist. I never went to school for art. I never learned formally. So I learned by looking at not only at people and being inspired by the people around me, but by how other artists have been representing people in their community.
That's
Kerry James Marshall.
I was just about to say, you got to give me a name, because specifically me is a compliment, because the contrast on every side, your storytelling through your paintings is big. Not many people can do that. How do you hope your work will shape or challenge perceptions of Brooklyn, especially for those who have never been there?
Well, Brooklyn is rapidly changing. Culture is ever evolving, but it's changing. And I hope that my images that I choose to forth into the world paint a picture of Brooklyn that is maybe one that's somewhat vanishing, at least as it used to be. So it's homage, it's homage to Brooklyn and to some of the culture that's been lost and co-opted.
It's fascinating because I am almost magnetized from the way you read the book to the way you express Brooklyn in its early form in your viewpoint. It's amazing because what you just said about what you get to capture in Brooklyn.
And I'm looking forward to
I gave the sexy answers.
I think it's cool, man. First off, I want to introduce you to Ebony. She's going to take it off and over from here.
Hello there.
Hello.
I am so excited to meet you. I know that Kurt's going to have so many amazing questions for you, especially being a Brooklynite himself. For me, I'm a newbie, but let me explain. Okay, I'm originally from Harlem. And so, I'm a visitor. Okay. So I would get on the passport.
The visitor that got lost in Brooklyn.
Right. And never left.
Okay. I live here now. Let me tell you.
Yes.
And I've spent nights at so many friends, and I have so many stories of Brooklyn. But what I love is hearing the stories. I love hearing the unique, first, backgrounds of uniqueness that comes into Brooklyn. But also, I think, which is a big foundation, it's kind of, I don't want to say similar in any way, but similar in the fact of artists coming through Harlem and Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And, thinking about your story, and I just want to really, because, I am... in my mind, I love to, let's call it video read. I'm telling you, just being a part of this podcast and talking about reading and the importance of it. I actually have a learning disability. So for me, reading something and being passionate of the story that I'm reading is everything. And so I'm a big reminder, even to the young people. I'm like, come on now, sit and read this book. So that, and especially your book, first of all, the illuminating colors. Let's talk about the cover. One of the things I like about your art pieces is the vibration of vibrant life. And I think, in my background as a model, one of the reasons why I've always had to fight not to stifle my photos is because it's a life story that I'm expressing. It's not just, as they say, the brand or the product. But I just wanted to, introduce myself fully to you before I have further questions. And later on, I'll be talking to you about your opinions. We'll be doing a little bit of a sipping. Okay. But yeah, so once again, great to meet you and an honor. And believe me, even you doing this podcast, sometimes we don't always realize those that we impact, globally. And there's so much of a reminder in your artwork of just the word art.
Thrilled to have you.
Yeah, and I think that's the simplicity that I think sometimes we get so clogged up in what we're trying to do. No, you are an artist. And in today's time, to be able to say that with its whole chest. I even had an athlete say I'm an artist. I was like, yes, okay, it really is another level.
But they are.
Yeah, and when I go to the barbershop, when my hair is cut low, I walk into the barbershop and I say, are you an artist or are you a barber? Okay. Now let Kurt introduce himself.
But before, Kurt,
yes, please.
I must be an artist. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I'm looking at you and I'm already painting you.
Oh wow!
Like I'm already looking at how the lights are shining, where your cheekbones are. I already got you.
Everyone, announcement, please go immediately to the stores. We have Concrete Dreamland. We are sitting here with beautiful, booked up. Okay, talking to Rich,
with
Nicole, and Kurt.
Expressions of beauty.
Thank you for that.
Included and being imagined at the same time in creation. So we're coming up to Concrete Dreamland. I'm going to start it right smack in the middle of it. I'm Kurt. And of course, my curious conversation, because when I looked at the book, I thought it was a capulation of your experience in New York. But this concrete dreamland was more a capulation, in my viewpoint, of your journey in spirit. Because I wanted to hear you read it. And I'm happy I did that, because there is a kind of magic in the colors of just a flat read in your conversation that made absolute sense. So I have a lot of questions, and as I go forward, I will my viewpoint is to understand how you got from recognizing all of these things that
it's
are
a journey.
dark and light, and rationing the placement of the spirit, which you got to where you are today. I am fascinated by that journey. I'm fascinated at the concrete of the dreamland and the juxtapose of those two conversations in the title. So here we go. Whenever you...
You didn't introduce yourself.
My name is Kurt Hardy.
Kurt Hardy.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Where are your people from?
And that's the other fascinating conversation. There's a color in your story that encapsulates everyone. My family is Guyanese, and so in the journey, there's a part of me, there's a part of her, there's a part of her, there's a part of many people in this conversation. And I think it's a real New York story. So like I said, I'm going to step away from taking up the mic, but I think it's a journey in spirit. It's a journey in sustainability, and it's a journey in staying happy. And this is just my viewpoint, but I want to kind of get to that place because I think what you bring is kind of inspiring for people who listen to this and kind of focus in on a couple of things. But before I'm going to let it go to Rich so Rich can fully introduce himself so we can have a full table conversation with everyone. This is Rich, and I'll give it over to Rich.
Well, he just introduced me.
Okay.
Right? My name is Rich.
Right. I heard that somewhere, yeah.
And the spirit of us all.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, the angle that I'm coming from is the angle of no knowledge of the book. Right? So my questions will be based on you as an individual, because I'm not an artist.
Right.
I am a writer, though. And thespian is in the mix. But as far as me, you conveying your version to someone, let's say within, I'm sitting in the park with you and we people watching.
Love that.
How you gonna convince me that this is something that I should purchase?
Right.
That's where I'm coming from.
Got you.
So the thing about it is, everybody here's from Brooklyn, right? Your viewpoint can be different from mine, or I can say something that inspire you. Just like you looked at her and you were inspired to say, yo, I can paint you in a painting. You know what I'm saying? Butt nakedness or fully clothed. Like that's what I'm on the bench with you and I'm like, how would you paint her?
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
To be continued.
Well, let's continue now.
Well, once again, I
love this.
I love that because that is the toss from the side, and I actually think life encounters that every single time.
Some of the biggest lessons that we all learn in the adversities of life that we face. It has a lot more to do with voice than navigation. And I say that because the voice is more real, right? Navigation, it takes time. It takes time to get to where you're going. Sometimes people don't even have a destination for whatever reason. So and from what I understand, what Rich was saying was the destination for me would be not to just get to know you,
Right.
but for you to actually give me, well, I'll put it like this. When you meet somebody, there's butterflies. I don't know if everybody believes in the butterflies, but as a youngster, I was told by a professor.
Can you imagine if book
what I'm
gave you
saying,
butterflies?
No, I'm saying that's
Let me-
that's,
oh,
where, that's where I'm going.
oh, that's an idea.
But that's where I'm going. The thing about it is, I was told as a young woman that if you do feel butterflies, run.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Right?
interesting.
So I don't know if that makes sense, But if somebody connects with you on whatever level, they should feel it's a spiritual thing. When I hear music, when I hear certain songs, you know, and then I hear a friend of mine or someone that I just met say, I like that song too. It's like automatically we're like song buddies.
Right.
You know, we love you. We want to hug each other, you know, because you connect. And being on a bench, feeling the vibe, understanding where you're coming from through your paintings, through your writing, that is the most amazing feeling in the world. Now, this guy, he has so many outlets. He's so talented. So I'm trying
they
to
call them Mavericks. But you
I'm
know
trying
what?
to figure out.
While she's talking, I have a question. Artists, you consider yourself self-taught, right? Now, my question to all artists would be, spiritually, when you are creating, right? What connection do you have most? Like, is it something emotional? Like when I was rapping and I would make a song and it was very relevant to today and what was happening, like sometimes I would tear up. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, man.
Painting?
Oh yeah.
Explain that.
Well, you know, first of all, let me just address something quickly that Nicole said. That advice you got about if you feel butterflies run, no disrespect to whoever gave you that advice, but that's horrible advice. Because those butterflies mean that
You're fearful.
you're feeling something. There's a connection. There's a butterflies are coming from God. So I understand where the advice came from. It's probably out of, you know, trying to protect you, or don't get too vulnerable. Don't go with that feeling. That person might be able to manipulate you with them butterflies. It's a fear-based projection, and we do that to each other all the time. But I think one of the things I push past, or I try to push past, is when I get those messages of fear, and they come all the time in all different voices, including my own, I try to recognize them and go past them, because that's what limits your life. As far as what Rich was saying is, I don't even call myself an artist because it's a box. I know I'm a creative person. I know I have a compulsion and a desire to express myself. All of that comes from inspiration. The root of the word inspiration is in spirit. I'm getting that from a higher place. Sometimes when that spirit touches you, man, it brings you to tears, because it's like, damn, I got chosen as a vehicle. Like you spitting, right? The words are coming to you. You're not like sitting down. They're coming. It's an inspiration. And if you stop in that moment and go, wow, where did that come from? I got used as a vessel for something higher than me to speak through me. I mean, it's got to bring you to tears, man. That's a humbling feeling. So yeah, man, I've shed many tears writing this book, creating art. I think probably every piece I've done at some point, if I didn't physically like a tear drop, at some moment my heart got mushy, you know, just out of reverence. Cause like, you know, you ever create something and then listen back to it and be like, who did that? Where did that? That ain't even
Definitely.
me. You know, it's like that with paintings.
Or when you do something so far back, you forget, and then it pops back up, and you're like, wow, I did that.
I did that.
I definitely can tell you loudly this week in my life, I was able to relate to that in such, I think for myself on a spiritual level, to get me clarity and focusing. But one of the things I noticed in your answer to the questions that were asked was something that's really important. A lot of times you have people that are talents or artists or sometimes master of teachers or whatever we prefer ourselves to be called, which I love, you know, clarifying who you are. And one of the things that I notice is a lot of times we start off on a project, and sometimes the project might not be from a complete spiritual place.
Right.
Maybe the project maybe you're doing a cookbook and you really are writing by Googling. You know, then you have another cookbook where maybe the person didn't have their grandmother, but they remember hearing the stories of the meals. So they took out time to learn, and they thought they couldn't do it, and they found a way. And when they went to write that book, it was much more than just what they learned in school. there was a level that resonated that others can feel. And I think it just gives you a higher energy of sometimes the work that you're doing and how you can impact others by paying attention to what quality of work are you presenting. And I think a lot of times when it's important to us, like our life story, we'll sometimes look at that. But I think that's really important in anything that you do, to really pay attention to. And especially for myself, as I was saying previously, working as a muse or being a model, it's funny because I really thought about that when I thought I took these pictures and my manager was asking me, honey, we need some pictures of you when you were a child, all these things. And I go back and look, and I laughed at myself when I did a photo shoot a year and a half ago and I couldn't pick the picture, and I was like, okay, just pick anything. And when I went back to look, I said, oh, each one is fierce, honey. Every angle. I was like, oh no, honey. But I laughed at myself because I had to remind myself of, Ebony, you weren't on this journey just in a sense for the paycheck.
And that's resilience.
There you go.
For me, something grabbed me where it had a lot to do with page 66. It said, you remember me? I said with a menacing slowness. The Murphy looked me up and down and coolly said, no, and kept walking. What is it? The whole slippers thing had me cracking up. I'm not going to lie. And for those that, let me just refresh your memory. A few of the older kids had started to wear kung fu slippers to school. They were cheap black slip-ons. All the Chinese kung fu guys wore in the movies. Of course, Bruce looked the coolest in them. Somehow I managed to convince a kid to trade shoes with me for the day, even though his slippers were way too big. I stuffed paper in the front of them. Every time I looked down at my feet, I knew victory would be mine.
Love it.
Yeah.
What's that?
What's the question? First of all, I gotta say,
that right there took me back.
Picturing is a bunch of things. One, the song everybody was kung fu fighting. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
42nd Street coming out of
That's in the
Netflix,
book.
and everybody doing moves on each other after the movie.
Yes.
So
He mentioned that too.
Basically, this is nostalgia. This is when
Yeah.
you was a kid
Yeah,
coming up, because that's what we did.
That's
after
right.
Going to the movies.
that's right.
And that relatability in your story that so many people, especially from New York and other people that have traveled, that Brooklyn experience. I'm laughing so hard because I remember I thought inside of me there was a martial arts fighter. You don't even know.
There is.
I am. You see it? I am such an androgynous woman. I was a boxer for like a year. I thought I was serious. And I remember when I was younger thinking that behind every Chinese restaurant they would be practicing. I remember as a kid, I thought everywhere I went, and I thought if I showed my strength, the master would take me in.
Well,
Let me tell you.
Well, I'll tell you about it. You can go ahead. I want to finish reading.
No, keep going, because I wanted to actually delve right into the book, because for me, I want to get into a couple of the full circle moments.
Yeah.
So read, and I'll tell you why I want to do that, because you started the book in a very strong way. And you almost ended the book in that same placement. So go ahead and read, and then I'm going to get into some some straightforward questions about the book.
He says, in reality, the kick was slow. It was also easily a yard from his face. This was disappointing enough, but what made it worse was my oversized, borrowed kung fu slipper flew off.
That's happened to all of us.
It careened right past the Murphy's head. So now, you want to go put your slipper back on? The Murphy said. I eased back into the perfect combat pose I'd practiced 100 times before. I would have made Bruce Lee himself proud. Anyone watching would have thought, that poor white boy is in big trouble. The nappy-headed one with the missing shoe is a master? Then the Murphy punched me in the nose, hard. It hurt, bled, and blurred my vision a bit, but it didn't lessen my resolve for righteous revenge. I thumbed my nose with cool Bruce Lee way Wendell had shown me, swung deep with my leg low. This was a classic Bruce move from a poster. The idea was to sweep the legs out from under the opponent. I did a perfect 360-degree circle. Somehow, in executing this move, I lost my other slipper. And as badass as I knew my deep sweep looked, I was somewhere near the Murphy. I missed him by a mile, but I thought he must be intimidated by my skill level. How could he not be? I looked just like the poster.
It's such a trip hearing somebody else read that.
I thought you'd be kind of.
It's a trip.
Is it like a weird?
It's a trip.
Because I'm a female too.
Right.
No.
So it's coming from a female voice, and what the parts that you're emphasizing, it's just hearing it in a different voice is really trippy. Because obviously I wrote it, and I've read it. I did the audiobook, but I hear it in my own voice, even when I read it. So hearing if somebody else read it, like the pauses that you're making, the voice, it's really trippy.
I was excited reading it. That's why I was like, let me calm down, because I love the way I love the flow of the book. It sounds like I'm in your living room.
It's conversational. Yeah, in that sense. Because I'm not like a trained writer either. So, for y'all rich and who hasn't read it, it's very it's written like I'm telling the story. Like we on the park bench, and I'm just like,
right.
Yo, let me tell you back in the day when I was about Bruce Lee.
Right.
Let me give you this story where I got my ass kicked, but I thought I was the master. So the book is really written in very plain,
right,
not flourishy language, poetic language. It's just storytelling.
It's almost let's get into the book really deeply right now.
Yeah, let's
because it's
get
almost
into
like you actually had these little snippets of conversations that stuck with you. Then you pull them together. You had little notes that you pulled together somewhere, and eventually something guided you to put it all together beautifully. Here, you started in the beginning with the conversation, which one of the first things when I started reading the book was the conversation with yourself and your dad. The conversation that almost seemed to actually finally get a response in the end of the book. Can we start there? This is Brooklyn. This is a different time in Brooklyn. It is your dad is this person who is a hardworking person who has made so many choices. Talk to me about your dad. Talk to me about your mom. Talk to me about that moment and what it meant to you.
And that moment was
exactly. I feel
crazy.
like this is a very important part of the book because it started your book and it ended your book. So I just want you to give me a quick insight, however you want to throw it, to start this conversation about the book.
Well, it was important for me to start the book with that story about my father.
Yes.
Because that's my beginning,
Right.
And that particular story, I'm not going to give too much away, was it set the tone for my life, really, up until I had a major recovery moment. The trauma that came out of that conversation and then his death. And then just looking at my family, my father's Irish American, working class, uneducated, alcoholic with a lot of trauma. My mom was from the South, also a trauma and abuse victim, rape victim. They met in Brooklyn. I was 21 my mom was 21 when I was born, and she already had 2 other kids one from a rape. So there was a lot of trauma in my family, a lot of alcoholism and drug abuse. Well, only one is still surviving, and he's very damaged. But I had a middle one who was a year older than me, year and a half, and then my oldest is 3 years older than me.
So coming up, did y'all come up as family?
The middle one, who was a year and a half, he was raised as my cousin. We figured out he was my brother when we turned about 15, because he was the product of a rape. My mom couldn't raise him because she had so much resentment, but she didn't want to put him up for adoption. So my great aunt took him and raised him as my cousin. But when you're like 15, getting high and shit, and you're like, you look just like mom. You know? And then you start putting the pieces together and you figure out, oh wait, you're
So you figured it out, and they had to convey reality.
we confronted them, and she got clean. And you know, here's the trip, and I'll divulge it here. I didn't say it in the book. I alluded to it in the book. Years later, I was at Boys and Girls High for my real cousin's graduation. And the keynote speaker was Al Vance, who's like, y'all know Al Vance?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at Al Vance and I'm like, damn, he looked just like Mike.
Crazy.
Damn, he sounds just like Mike.
They're related?
That's his father.
Wow.
So I said, I leaned over to my mom. I said, doesn't he look like Mike? And she said he should. That's his father. And that's who raped my mom.
She came clean?
She came clean.
At that moment?
Yeah. And
she felt the way when she saw him too.
Yeah, because she hadn't seen him either. I'm getting chills.
Wow.
And, you know, Al Vance was a very important political figure in Brooklyn. He did a lot of good work.
Yes.
And he was young when it happened, but it did happen.
Yeah.
And
but yo, that's
I took a picture of it and sent it to Mike, and Mike was like, oh shit, like, wow.
I look just like him.
Yeah, he's like, that's undeniable.
That's crazy.
So yeah, so that there's a lot of little
in that,
and everybody has those stories in their family too, you know?
Yes.
Of course they do.
Wherever you look in the generational map, there is some conversation of everything in every one of us.
Oh, for sure.
And that's what makes, this podcast and what we're doing now
politics
crucially
is a
important.
dirty game. The secrets that are hidden before somebody comes out and wants to do. Let me tell a quick story. You know, that's life. When people like do dirty things in the beginning and things start to work out, and then all of a sudden they want to change their life around, right? When they start doing things that people say, oh, you're a good person for, right when they think their life is going to turn around, that's when they get it. Mm-hmm. That's when they get it.
Yeah.
You know, and it happens to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
But more importantly, I think, is what does the person on the other side walk away from it without actually letting it drown them,
right?
Which is the importance of this book. I'm keeping getting back to that portion of it because there is a conversation of keeping the light and remembering the good and the bad and using it as a lesson. So we're going back to how, and I wanted to get to the conversation wherein you're having a conversation in your living room. And I prefer for you to tell that story because I don't want to retrench it from my viewpoint, because I would like you to give me an insight why it was the most important part of the book and how it stretched you to finish
without
the
giving
book.
it away, because I know
without giving it away.
Yeah, because a lot of people are really that I've spoken to really are interested.
Give us a peekaboo.
It's going to be hard to give a peekaboo without giving it away because it's so. The initial name that I
Quick
proposed for the
disclosure, just not to interrupt you, but I think you can tell a little of that story without giving it away.
Okay.
So I don't mind because I think it will give you a great insight for people wanting to know about this story.
Or I can give what it is without the details of it, which you have to find out.
Can I make it a little easier for you? Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about the brownstone?
Which brownstone?
Because the brownstone that you kind of revived,
right?
That has a lot to do with the fabric of what your mom, and
but that's kind of later, though.
It's later in the book.
And that's something that I can relate to.
But I just know that there's levels to this.
Oh yeah,
so many.
The thing about what occurred, and the reason why I felt it was important to start with that story, the initial title I had that I proposed for the book was "Sins of the Father," because as I was rolling out these stories, I kept recognizing, although my father died when I was 15. His influence kept popping up. And I kept recognizing how much I was like him, even though,
trauma stories.
These trauma stories stay with you if they're unresolved. So basically, in a nutshell, the story in my family was that my grandfather committed suicide using my father's homemade gun. They used to call them zip guns. I found out at my father's funeral from a friend of his that he actually killed his father, and that he married a black woman to punish himself for that sin. Now that was the opinion of his friend. So, as you can imagine, I'm on the way to my father's funeral, and his friend drops that bomb on me. And I was 15 years old, man. I didn't have the emotional skills to handle that information. And I was already starting to dabble in drinking and drugging, so I self-medicated because, we come from a culture where my mom didn't recognize how hurt I was first from losing my dad. Secondly, she didn't know that. She only found out when she read the book that I had been told that my father killed his father.
Wow.
So
Did she
never
already know?
She denied it.
Okay.
She denied it, but I think in her heart
She
she
had
knew.
an idea.
Yeah.
And it's probably a big part of why my father started drinking the way he did. He had a lot of guilt, but it passed on to me, and that's why I say sins of the father. I start with the Shakespeare quote, "Sins of the father are visited upon the child," because if we don't, as parents, even as a community or individuals, if we don't heal our own trauma, we are toxic, poison to the people around us, particularly the people we're raising.
Absolutely.
So whether we know it or not. So that was a thread throughout the book that I'm glad you picked up. And I did want to make full circle at the end and kind of revisit,
Yeah, but from what I'm hearing, it seems like the book is therapy for you.
it was definitely
Right? And on top of that, now that we're having this conversation, you're delving into things that you didn't put in the book.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you talking about the other stuff, and you saying, that's crazy.
Yeah, man. The original manuscript was like 500 pages, man. We had to chop it down because I let it all out.
Believe me, I understand. Yes, okay.
But sorry, go ahead.
No, so our pathways are kind of similar in the sense that I walked through a lot of like creative outlets. I've worked in New York nightclubs, and I must tell you, when I looked up
Is your father Irish?
my father's not Irish. My mother's Caribbean, so that part makes it almost parallel in many ways, which is interesting because I worked in New York nightclub. I thought Concrete Jungle was actually about the time, the period, and I started reading, and then I realized this Concrete Jungle was about this young man navigating.
Well, it's not jungle; it's dreamland.
Dreamland.
I always make that.
No,
I always make that
but
mistake too.
The dreamland, and I say the jungle because I wanted to separate the two parts of the title. So this was this young man navigating in this jungle with a dream that even if he doesn't know. So tell me, what is it in this whole conversation that kept you holding on to something? Because you held on to something, and
No,
you still
something
hold
held on
it
to me.
now.
Here we go.
Something held on to me. You said something earlier. You said, and I wish I took a pad with me like you do in Ebony so I could make notes. But you said something.
I've got paper and ebony pencil.
There you go. You said something inspired you to do this, and I had a sponsor when I got sober who said he was an atheist. He was an atheist that believed in God more than anybody I ever known.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? He didn't
Yes.
believe in God, but he had a
Science
and he said he
professor.
called his God something because something told me not to walk down that block.
Ooh.
Something told me I should do this, and it saved my life. And he said when I recognizes that that's something that we can call whatever we want has been with me throughout, right?
It is.
So something inspired me to write the book. And there's a spiritual journey in the book, right? My reckoning with my idea of God and all the different spiritual practices that I was exposed to. And I ended up with it's something. God is, I know God is, I just don't know what God is, but I know God is. And I know it's something greater than me that if I look at my life, there's always something told me to do this. Something inspired me to do that. What is that something? I'm gonna call it my higher power, power greater than me that's been guiding and protecting me. I don't need to know it the name. I don't need the dogma and religion around it. I
I'll
just
tell
need
you
to
what
know
his name is. His name is Patrick.
Patrick,
I am.
exactly. I
He's
was
You
gonna
know-
say
That's
that.
God. You know God.
One of the-
Patrick, go ahead. Patrick, who held on to everything for dear life that
And was held
reminded
on
him
to.
of-
Yes.
And was held on to.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful what you just said. And one of the things I like that a lot of the 10-year-olds are doing, but they're not completely able to or even want to articulate just yet, is the nuance of the way you express belief system. I think, we have a generation, and I hate to say it, I'm piggybacking off of Oprah, when they die. What I mean by that is, as we get older and as time moves forward in different generations, we have shape-shifted our understanding and beliefs, whether it's in religion, whether it's the way we should live life, our belief systems, culture, community. And one of the things that I recognize is us owning our authentic uniqueness within our belief and the way we are telling our stories.
Yeah.
And I think the understanding of choice, where maybe we had a system, let's say previously before MySpace and TikTok and all of this, we had our
Said
grandmothers.
MySpace.
Okay, yes. I don't want. Isn't it still popping?
Wow,
What's
that
happening?
is so long ago.
Okay,
Wow.
what do you mean?
You might as well just throw in Black Planet.
Oh, I was about to say black box. Okay, refrigerator,
Black
telephone.
box.
Yeah. Honey. But it's, really looking at the nuance and the way we are looking at how we're healing through stories. There were so many things in your story. And first of all, the name of your book. I was sitting back thinking to myself, because not the same cover as yours, but I was thinking about the cover for my book. And I'm thinking that a lot of the not the theme, but my life story really is rich in Harlem. My grandmother had a beauty salon in Harlem, and I grew up in that. And just like you, so many layers in my own story. But one of the things that I recognized in your story, thinking about the dreamland, and I was thinking about the jungle too when I first saw the book. And when Nicole was like, "There's a book you need to read," so I'm there looking. Who is Patrick? And when I saw the cover, I was like, wait a minute, look at these colors. What's going on here? It really allured me. The second thing, which I really loved and I focused on, was thinking about my own journey and thinking about the word dreamland and what brought me thinking about why couldn't I let go of that word? What a great title. And going, oh my goodness, I was in the middle of the jungle, but I was able to stay in my dreams. And I remember even till I was 14, people, I wore bows in my hair till I was 14. And what I also think that was an expression of me knowing that I was growing up, but embracing my own childhood and recognizing to protect it. So I think when Kurt was saying, a sense of your story, and as we're reading each other's stories, and especially, your book and what we're representing today, when people ask that question, you'll notice that they will ask it to you over and over again. How did you make it? How did you survive? What did you? And even when you answer it, you'll notice that your answer can shapeshift because everybody's coming from their own journey to embrace it. So I think about your building your new foundation and your home. Beautiful. And in the story, and I mean, my mother was a teacher, and she was, 60s, and she was so mad because here she is making great money, doing well, getting her master's for no reason, just because she can, and being a sister in Harlem and representing leadership. She noticed that she couldn't buy properties wherever she wanted to go. And she said, with all these degrees, I'm just going to quit my job. And she had just received an opportunity to become a principal. And she said, nope, I'm going to become a detective with discrimination of housing. And a year later, that's what she became, one of the first black women in the federal building. And I just bring that up to talk about how in our lives, there's different ways in the book we connect, whether you're from the same borough, whether you have that same level of trauma or abuse in your family, or just as simple as struggling to live the authentic life. How do we, and even you writing this book and looking at, my question to you is, what was your goal and the impact of this book? And also, writing, I know you talked about spiritually, just a sense of the healing and really just having a conversation. And that's how you structured it, which I love. And just going in, when you thought about the book, the full purpose and what were you hoping to give us?
Just
a big deal.
Authenticity. Just the courageous story of because it's a very, Rich hasn't read it. It's a really raw book. I mean, what they say, you're as sick as your secrets. I ain't want to be sick no more. So the secrets came out on page. It's about my journey. It's a journey of redemption and recovery that I hope people find
What a
some
legacy.
inspiration in. But See, I really have to take a note because you said so much so quickly
I
in
can break it
there,
down.
and there was so much I wanted to address.
You definitely answered the question when you thought about, what am I giving to the public?
Right.
I think also going back into the foundation of home, sometimes we will talk about our trauma, but we also, and what I love about your book is you talk about, some people can call it micro situations, but how these situations, and thinking about the first name of your book originally was going to be, Father of Sins.
Sense of
And the Father. And I was somewhere like, oh my God, thinking about the name of my book. And I was like, looking at just when you said that sentence, the trauma of me being on America's Top Model, being told by, we were just going to say the world, skin too rough.
Yeah.
And then thinking about my great grandmother, my mother, being a dark skinned, beautiful woman. And looking at, oh my God, look how the drama she went through and her skin in that time period, and look at what I'm going through in this journey.
Community.
Exactly.
The community. Overcoming adversity is not easy.
It isn't.
It's not easy. I really admire that, that you took the time out to show the process.
It's another example of that something guiding me and me being mindful enough and quiet to hear it, because that post, it went viral. I had no intention of, I was like, man, this is kind of private. It came, like, I was getting ready to go to bed, and I was like, I'll just throw some images up and talk a little bit about this amazing journey to get to this brownstone. And then, just like I hope what happens to the book, people identify with it and it touches something. And it did in this case. And
You know what? I saw that.
you saw it. See, it's viral.
I didn't tell him anything.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah, man.
Love that.
So basically, in a
As
nutshell,
you're saying it, I'm
you're
like,
reminded.
oh snap!
Yeah, man.
I remember that.
I know it's not in the book.
It's not in the book.
I had to get you to talk.
Okay. My mom,
I
my
liked
mom
it.
was brilliant enough to buy a brownstone in Bed-Stuy on Jefferson Ave from the city in the mid '80s when they were basically giving them away. It's the height of the crack epidemic.
Yes.
That was ground zero. That block was all bombed out, and she took the money from my dad's pension and invested in this brownstone. That's the spot where on the week it looks like every weekend it looks like Spike Lee choreographed and like
Exactly.
and you know, it's like all the beautiful, hot, stylish Black Brooklyn is out there.
Almost created style.
But it was,
Yes.
but when she bought it, it was the middle of it was the ghetto.
Yeah.
And people in the family are like, "Why are you spending money? You know, buy a house in the suburbs." Like, because that was also
A dream.
the end of white flight. Like everybody was leaving the city.
Exactly.
And she said, "No." Now my mom, one of the manifestations of her trauma is that she became like a hoarder. So she has other properties, but they're all just full of stuff. So she had that brownstone, and she said it will be yours, but she wouldn't let go of it. She's really good at acquiring stuff, not so
Yes.
good at letting go of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's what hoarders do.
that's what they do,
And as a health counselor, yes.
right?
I understand.
So she had it for like 40 years. It was empty,
Wow.
and it was just falling apart.
It's crazy.
And it got to the point where it had to be gutted, and it was just a shell. And then, you know, when you leave a derelict property like that in a neighborhood that's quickly gentrifying and changing, the vultures swoop in.
Mm-hmm.
So on 2 occasions it was stolen,
Wow.
but they just rewrote the deed and sold it.
Yes.
And we had to fight for it to get it back. And then we got a contractor who, my mom got this contractor, it's a Black man who said, you know, I love Jesus and I love my community. You remind me of my mom.
And he loves stealing money.
Stole
too.
all that money, man.
He said he
took
loved-
all her
he
life
didn't add
savings.
that. That was PS. You didn't get that into PS.
Took all the life savings, man, and left the brownstone like that. Now I'm blessed to have I have a new family. I have a grown son and I have a young baby now, and we need a place. I'm living in a little tiny apartment, you know, and so I asked my mom. I said, you know, can I take over this brownstone, because at this point, so I've been working on that bad boy. I learned how to do plumbing.
Are you having a house building party?
Oh, please.
Okay, we need to come. Okay, I'm just
Please.
saying I can cook
Sweat equity.
a mean something.
I've been rent parties, Back in the day, we used to have rent parties.
Wait a minute. Everybody has been talking about that.
Yes.
There are some things we're trying to bring back from the past. Like even
Bed-Stuy needs all of
We
it.
need all of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
There's
as
a jazz place that happens in Bed-Stuy. Do we need to have every expression of everything? I just want to know more about your mom, though.
Yes.
I just want to interrupt that.
She's
Only
amazing.
because, like, that conversation about the brownstone, your mom had a vision.
Yes.
And
Yes.
your mom needs to be, like, illuminated in some
She's
amazing
brilliant.
way.
She's brilliant.
So please, tell me where she's from.
She's
where
a whole
her
nother
family's-
book, man.
Fascinating.
My
Okay,
mom, my
part
mom is
three.
a whole nother
What's
book.
her name, first of all?
Her name is Annie Lee Gerald.
Ah.
And then she took my father's last name.
Oh.
She came from South Carolina, came up during the big migration in the 50s from the South, escaping Jim Crow, and then she came up north and got Jim Crow up north.
So before your father became poisonous, how did you feel about him?
I love my dad. My dad, he had his poison was internal.
Right.
And it seeped through his skin, but he didn't. He wasn't
beautiful.
like
Yeah.
he wasn't trying to poison us.
Right.
He was
just self-deprecating.
he was self-deprecating. He was hurting himself. But you know, if you love somebody, they hurt themselves.
Yeah,
They're hurting
yeah.
you, especially the kids.
just a different way.
You know. So he basically drank himself to death. He died by age 38. His body had already
wow.
fallen apart. And I was when I was 38. I was about to die from drinking too.
It's crazy.
That's another parallel.
I saw that.
So how many
That
times
was
were
almost
you?
your
How many times were you
strength of full circle.
at your lowest and you thought about your dad?
All the time, man.
It's crazy.
And then he got sober the last 6 months of his life, and he started a new job. And he had abused his body so long that when he started the new job, he couldn't take it. He had a heart attack on the second
It's
day.
crazy. Remember what I said about the people that want to turn it around?
That's when it happens.
Yeah.
But when I got sober, I remembered him, and you know, I never cried at his funeral. How many years later? It was like 25 years later when I got sober. I'm coming home from the train. I was working at Scores at a strip club, 4:00 in the morning, and I had just got 90 days of sobriety. And my father had just made 90 days when he died.
And you was working at the strip club? You
I
better be
was working
Superman.
at the strip club,
I'm talking about.
and I started crying on the 4 train, man, 3:00 in the morning, because I was
think
thinking,
about your dad.
I was thinking like he had to hit that bottom that I had to, and then get sober and do all the stuff that I did, and then he didn't make it, and it got me, man. 25 years later, I was crying like I was at his funeral.
How do
Do
you
you
see him
ever-
at that point?
Do you ever feel like
How do you view him at that point? Like,
Oh, after
Oh,
feeling that,
I was so
yeah.
proud of him, man.
it was a different time too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
You know
absolutely.
what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Which is
His time 38 versus your time 38.
Very different.
Two different times.
Very different.
So what I want to say is, do you feel your father?
All the time, man.
Yeah.
All the time.
Because I think
You should see my daughter's face. It looked just like him.
I'm not an atheist. The guy said something, and I think one of the somethings is your dad
Oh, yeah.
apologizing.
Yeah.
He's making up for the mistakes.
One of the most beautiful things that my mom has ever said to me is that your father would be proud of you. Like, I can get emotional thinking about that. You know, like,
So you got to change it. You got to flip it, because you started off with the 7,
Mm-hmm.
and you know chronologically the 7 is the energy number,
that's right.
right? So you got to say he is proud,
Yes.
because energy
Energy, yeah.
is universal,
always there.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So
Plus you've-
some things I do know.
Yeah, yeah.
Plus,
You know
you
a lot,
pictured
man.
him in your whole structure with the whole structure. You foretell, you did the full circle. He is present everywhere.
Yeah, man.
Your writing,
Yeah.
interesting. Just like he's a rapper, and for all my life, I thought rappers were the creation of everything. You use a style that could be confusing in everyone's viewpoint, but is so logical.
But you know, what can we expect from you? What
Yeah.
any future projects?
A film.
I know.
There's a screenplay written. I'm supposed to meet with the woman next week to go over it.
Oh my God.
I don't know what will come
The
of that.
colors in
Beautiful.
that will be fussy.
Man, I can't imagine.
Beautiful.
There's enough for another book. Just what was taken out. And a lot of the story, another aspect of my life is like, there's been a lot of magical realism moments in my life, stuff that is just like mind-boggling. Like, again, it's God showing up in different forms, but just magical stuff, man. And a lot of that got left out of that book. So hopefully there's another book. Book, you know, when I wrote this, it was just a pure act of like, man, I got to get this out. I didn't have dreams of being a best-selling author and none of that. Also, I wasn't told, and I was lucky, man. I got a great agent who put me. I got a major publisher, but they didn't tell me when you put out a book, you got to do the hustling. Like the publishers don't do really anything.
Those contracts have changed.
Yeah. And it's in their best interest for the book to sell because that's how they make their profit.
Right.
But you got to set up your own engagements.
Do it all.
And thank you, Nicole, for reaching out for this. But
And that's why I'm manager.
yes.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, I need a manager. And
and all those things will flow. All those things.
Well,
will
you
flow.
know, I must say that, you know, this was our first show. And I
over.
am excited for you. But I can't, I don't think I would have wanted anyone else
oh, thank you so
to
much.
be the first guest.
Thank you so much. Are you going to keep this same crew?
Of course.
This is
We
good.
are crew.
It's a
the
good
family.
chemistry. Yeah.
It's the family. Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
See?
We appreciate
See?
that.
He likes us.
Let's give him the booked up smile.
Oh yeah, there it is.
So,
I have somebody else. Ebony made me
interview.
think of it. My dear friend Michaela Angela Davis just put out her memoir, Tenderheaded, and
Ooh, love
she.
that title.
I don't want to say that like I inspired her to write it, but we were on the journey at the same time. My book came out first, so she read my book, and I think it kind of helped her reformat hers. So she's on her tour now. So I would suggest you
love
get
to
her, and
interview
y'all
her.
would have a lot to
if
talk.
you can,
Interesting.
I guess, introduce us somehow.
Yeah, I'll put you all together.
And I actually wanted to point something out to you, something that you may not know. I wrote a book about my mother's life called Georgetown, and from South America to America. And it's a major.
You're GT too? Scant.
Well, I mean, you know, right now we're gonna do a quick go sip, and then we're gonna end the show with that. But it's a lot of fun, so just sit back and check it out.
For those that don't know, Go Sip is the section of this program where we ask you rapid fire questions, and whatever comes to mind, you just answer. You know, it's yay or nay,
It's off the top.
basically. So Ebony has the questions. Go ahead, Ebony.
Yes. Now, later at the end, if you guys want to chime in with some questions about the gossip that is happening in the world today. So it's time for Go Sip, honey. Let's move on to later, to now, to new gossip. Okay, so are we sitting back or are we canceling? So that's your choices today. So the first topic we're going to talk about today. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware that Paris had Fashion Week. Now, we have Harry and Meghan, the royal family. One of the big gossip today on Sun, the royal big news, is the conversation about, you know, what's really going on in their relationship. Is it true that the reason why they left the royal house was really to do humanitarian work? Or is it really maybe that their relationship is more of a business relationship in a golden cage? So the questions here are, now that they apparently, we call it free, the gossip is, with the humanitarian work, well, we're at Fashion Week. So the question here is just looking at when we think about who's popular right now, and I wonder to myself when we think about what's healthy, what is healthy? What is the gossip? Why are we in their business? Is it our business? Secondly, she looked fabulous. Okay, what was she wearing? She was wearing Bellagio. Yes. So you know that's what I have to say about that. But do you think this is important enough? Do you think it should be canceled or sit down? And sit down could be many things. It could mean sit down, I need to find out more information. It could be sit down, not important. It could be sit down, Ebony, what are you talking about? Okay, let's talk about cheese. And cancel is, honey, we're done. We're over it. We're not really, you know, no negative, but I'm sorry.
Right.
That wasn't my first news clip.
Right. I can't speak for nobody else. Somebody might be interested in that, but I ain't. She ain't got nothing to do with my life.
I see. She didn't give you an invite to the royal wedding?
Nah,
I just want to make sure.
one.
Oh, you missed that?
I missed
okay.
that one.
Okay.
She fine though.
Okay, yeah, well, you know, hey, you know what? She has brung in the blacklist, honey.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a lot of, you know, there is so much backstory in the gossip of what's going on in Fashion Week. And, it's very interesting that we choose as number one gossip. So let's go on to the next topic. Now, the next topic we have is something really, really, I like to call everything spicy. But let's talk about on today's news, okay? So this morning on today's news, the conversation was about Serena Williams. Serena Williams taking GLP-1s medication. Now, there's a lot to be said here, and I think when I was listening to TikTok and a variety of different, whether it's radio stations, whether it's the news, the conversation, I guess on TikTok, everybody has their own little networks and people they listen to when it comes to gossip.
So what is GLP?
Well,
Thank you, brother.
That is a medication to basically control your body weight. And apparently it started off with people using Ozempic for cancer. And somehow, to regulate the sugar levels, that also one of the recurrence that can happen to you is losing weight. Now, being a supermodel is one of the reasons why I thought this was really an interesting topic, where I've had a lot of people stop me on the streets. And at first, I didn't know anything about it. It was because a fan stopped me. And she turned around and said, "Ebony, honey, you are looking fabulous. What are you eating? What are you moisturizing?" I said, "Oh." And then she asked me my opinion on Serena Williams. And I said, "Well, let me go and Google. Let me look up." She wasn't the first one. I was asked this 3 times from random people. And then I connected to why they'd be asking me. Well, we're both in the same age group. When we think about me being a model and representing, because I've chosen to, not every model says they want to represent that. They might model for a couple of years and move on with their career. But for me, it is not a job. It really is a life career. So I am passionate about health, nutrition, modeling, fashion, beauty in every way. So I constantly talk about being healthy in what I do. When I thought about her journey, and we have to remember, this is an icon. This is a woman that is one of the number one in sports today. So we want to give respect first and foremost. But I think sometimes people forget the stress of life. And I think because she is one of the top athletes, a lot of people are sitting back and thinking deeper than normal.
Wait, one question. Is she still playing?
She is not playing any longer,
Right.
but she does, shows. She's talked about that.
Right.
You know how it goes. We retire 5 times.
Right.
She's not from Brooklyn.
No.
Patrick don't care. All right, what's the next question?
But so I want to say this before I ask you if it's cancel or sit down, because,
Okay.
let's think about this for a quick second and why this is really, to me, out of all the stories right now, and when we think about drama in Hollywood, I think that's the leading. And it recently happened. She recently is talking about it. She's also launching a podcast with her sister, and she'll be talking further, but she's talked about as being a top athlete that she has struggled on and off with keeping her weight, especially after having children. So I think the big conversation to me when I heard this was spiritual health. What's going on here without judging? We talking about our journey. This is the first time, I think, and why the public is shocked, is her talking about her struggle.
Yeah.
And I think that to me is where really the backlash of what's going on here. I think maybe the response, and just my opinion, could possibly be different if this would have been a journey that we would have known. I think they put her on this platform, and especially being the top athlete, that she wakes up and looks like that, honey. She breathes and the muscles come.
No, but
And
that's
Go
past tense.
ahead. Exactly.
She's retired, so
That's
let's
there we go. Yes.
Yeah.
But
That's a keyhole right there.
Yeah, and I'm happy that at least she's talking about it, not just doing it. And we found out behind the scenes.
The second thought is I have a very close friend who's also very well-known musician who has told me in confidence that everybody that you see that's a so-called star is doing something. They got some work done. They're on something.
What?
And when you see them, that's not them. That's been touched, retouched.
Yeah, because
filtered.
they in the public eye.
Yeah.
And they are vain.
He's like,
as hell.
everybody has got
But
something done.
you know what's? You around. You in BK, and matter of fact, you in an area that's coming up crazy. You've been around Clinton Hill. You see all the stars and all of that, right? You know what the worst thing is being famous and broke.
Famous and broke.
You know what?
Famous and old is bad too.
Yes.
If you don't take care of yourself.
Not
Famous is
relevant.
Very true.
relative.
Not
Relative, there you go. You
Yes,
said
right.
the key,
That's
many
right.
key
That's
points
the reason
here.
why I said she ignited the conversation.
Yes.
Right.
So she needed something from it. So
Right.
I have
Yeah.
no comment.
Now she's back
you
in the
go.
front. Now she's
Yes, she-
back in the
Straight up.
public eye.
Comment. Exactly.
On today, honey.
Listen,
On
Serena-
today.
Well, they say no.
Serena got tons of money.
Okay, but you know what? I'm going to wrap up with this on this conversation, okay, as we all are sipping. So when you were saying a moment ago, beautiful Patrick, which everybody's going to go and buy Concrete Dreamland.
Thank you.
Yes, and we are supporting, and there's so many other projects that he will be bringing forward. But talking about spiritual growth and understanding, that's why I'm so impacted by your book, and you remind me of me keep going when it comes to me writing. So I just remind us all that yes, there is a lot of drama in all aspects of careers and life, but you can do this in a spiritual healing way. And there are techniques and people that are leaders that have made it through the dreamland that can remind you the authentic way if you choose to do it, withholding your beauty. And I have to say to you, I have to speak on, it is not easy being a celebrity, a public figure. And it's not just even using that word, use that word as though you're on a platform for everlasting. Honey, when you fart, they can hear it. So because of that, and it also put me also in an unhealthy way of finding my own perfection. But the balance is telling the story and the journey like you're doing.
Thank you.
There's a fascinating thing about Mondays and being off. All the old folks that are in the neighborhood come out on Mondays. They come out on Mondays on a summer day. They come out about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, between 7 and 11. That is their function. They're all amazing. One day I was actually like sitting down, he came over and he's a little Asian man and he says, "You okay?" And I'm like, never noticed that he noticed me before. He said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." Kind of not realizing that there's something,
Right.
I know there's something going, but I'm like trying to push him away from my placement. But he says to me, and I use this to this day, he says, "Life is a gift. Be careful that you notice the wrong part of it."
I like that.
And I use it on my voicemail. I use it in my life. I use it in so many ways. I like this book, and I'm saying this to say this conversation we had today was really good and inspiring. I like this, and I wish people would read it, because one of the true stories I get from this and the concrete dreamland is that in concrete, you can still dream. And I simplify it in the simplest way to say, please go ahead, read this book. But I also want to say that please be aware that everything you do is a learning tool for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick,
Thank y'all.
for coming through.
Yes.
You did us, you made me feel good.
Absolutely.
First of all, I got you to tell the story, my favorite story. Yeah, because you're like, it's not in the book. It's not in
We're
the
gonna
book.
plug you
I
everywhere.
listened to the audio. I read the book. I did it all, so I know it's not in the
And
book.
I think you sold Rich. Would you buy the book?
Rich is
What price range?
I want to say something. Listen, I don't know the book yet. I will. But you as an individual, I can say your spirit and the things that you've divulged, and I see when you went back in time and let those feelings come up again and decide to push out another gem. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure people appreciate it. Now, as far as the art is, this was my idea for you. As far as your artwork, maybe you should do a coffee book and put little stories instead of a bunch of pages. You know what I'm saying? Do your art and put quips at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? That's a good idea, I think, as far as your art is concerned.
great minds.
But
think alike.
as far as you as a person, I dig your spirit. I think you're a cool dude, and just on that is the reason why I will read the book. You know what I'm saying? And whatever they got from it, I hope I can, now knowing you as an individual, I can really get the personality of what the words on the pages are.
Yeah, that's a high endorsement, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And yeah, and while you're enjoying reading The Concrete Dreamland, you can visit the Little Pig on 3rd Avenue in Atlantic in Brooklyn. Let me tell y'all.
Hold on now before you start.
Oh.
We're going to save that for another show.
Okay, sounds good.
Getting that plug in.
In this episode, we explored daily hacks, life hacks, that is, through the lens of Patrick Dugar's Concrete Dreamland. We discussed resilience, community, and creative expression as essential tools for navigating life's challenges. Ebony brought us the latest Ghost Sip, and we gained insights from our guest, Mr. Patrick Duger. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So appreciate you. Yes.
All right. My check is in the mail, right?
Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yo. Wow. Yeah. Yo. Check the mic. 1, 2. This ain't no game. It's the truth. Booked up crew coming at you. Nikki, Rich, Ebony, and Kirk too. From the streets to the suite. Elevate the game. Spitting fire ain't nothing the same. Heartbeats, heavy bass, that's our domain. Booked up podcast, putting on for the name. Let's get you booked up. Schedule feel tight, shining bright. Day and night, from the underground to the spotlights glare. Booked up, movement beyond compare. Talent overflowing, skills on deck. Every guest a star, no time to reflect. Leaving the show with contacts and checks. Booked up nation, showing no neglect. Let's get you booked up. Schedule feel tight, shining bright. Day and night, from the underground to the spotlights glare. Booked up, movement beyond compare. Nikki dropping gems, Rich with the flow. Ebony and Sight, Kurt running the show. 4 forces combined, watch the talent grow. Booked up, empire steady on the go. Let's get you booked up. Schedule feel tight, shining bright. Day and night, from the underground to the spotlights glare. Booked up, movement beyond compare. Yeah, booked up, remember the name. We changing the game, ain't nothing the same. So tune in, lock in, and spread the flame. Booked up podcast etched in the Hall of Fame.